everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen, and welcome to day 8 of the 12 days of Christmas. Today we're going to be working on something that I don't typically do in my kitchen. We are working on Christmas appetizers. This one specifically is probably going to be one of my favorites because it involves croissant dough, cranberries, and most importantly, brie. I love brie. I come from a family that loves cheese, and brie is not an exception. It is so delicious, and I think will pair so well with the cranberries. So if you want to see what we get up to with those ingredients today, just keep on watching. Alright, so I have all of our ingredients just sat out here, and I'll go ahead and let you know everything that we will be using today. We have our wheel of brie. I have some homemade cranberry sauce, and of course, the thing that's the most exciting is the croissant. Buns, rolls, I don't know, dough. So we are going to be putting this all together, and it's going to be a fun little Christmas appetizer that you can either just have if you're gonna have a little movie night at home. You could bring this to a party. I don't know anybody that wouldn't be so excited to try this. They're just simple ingredients, but very delicious and festive ingredients. So we will go ahead, and the thing with this is it's supposed to make like a beautiful wreath. So of course, if we're gonna do that, we need a center. So I just grabbed one of my glass dishes. So we'll add that to the bottom or to the middle there, just so everything can be evenly placed around. I don't like these containers. They're the ones where you unwrap them and then they pop. Okay, press on the line. Oh, okay. Here we go. So now just find the end and unroll them. Wow, they are big. Oh my, okay. Can number 2. Oh, goodness. I'm gonna try and space these out as evenly as possible. So now that we have our croissant dough placed as even as we can, I'm seeing now that I didn't do that good of a job, but it's okay, it'll taste the same. The next step is to add our homemade cranberry sauce, and you're just gonna want to add it kind of around the center, but don't go too close to the bowl, just because you're not going to want this to leak out, just because you don't want it to burn. We're just adding a good amount of cranberry sauce around the whole perimeter of the dough. And if you guys remember, this is actually the cranberry sauce that I made in day 7, the day that we made the Christmas dinner. I made this cranberry sauce then, so I thought that this would be a really fun way to use up some of the leftover cranberry sauce, and I thought this would be really cool if you guys have a Christmas dinner, let's say on the 25th. I'm not sure when you have your Christmas dinner, but the next day if it's a Boxing Day, you're having a movie night, this would be the perfect thing to use up that extra cranberry sauce, have a little cozy movie night with a delicious snack. So there's just an idea for you. So we just took a little bit from our wheel of brie, and we're just going ahead and chopping it up in little slivers like this so that we have enough to evenly space it around the wreath, but also thin enough because you want this to melt and get all nice and ooey gooey in the oven. And if you cut it a little bit too thick, it could take longer to reach that point. So best to stick with thin slices so that everything cooks around the same time. Because this recipe is using pre-made croissant dough, cranberry sauce that we already made, cheese, and a little sprinkle of rosemary, it really takes no time to throw together, and that's why I think it would make the absolute perfect Boxing Day movie night treat. So I do encourage you guys, if you have these ingredients on hand, to give it a try. It is so worth it. It is absolutely delicious, and I know that your family would love it. You might be able to see my little helper in the corner there. He is just waiting to see if I drop any cheese. I did in fact give him a piece, so he got his fair share, that's for sure. Here is when you are going to sprinkle on a generous amount of rosemary. It gives such a nice balance of flavor with the sweet cranberry sauce, with the cheese. I think the rosemary is just the icing on top of the cake. In the recipe that I was following, she mentioned that you could crush up some pistachios or even add in a drizzle of honey. So I think that this is fairly adaptable to whatever your family's preferences are. So feel free to get a little bit creative. I love the idea of the crunch of pistachio. I didn't have any on hand, which is why I didn't add it in today. Otherwise, I think that would have been delicious. But yeah, so if you have pistachios on hand, or maybe a different type of nut that you would like a little bit better, maybe give that a try for a little bit of texture. But otherwise, try and get creative. Add the honey, maybe don't add the honey. This is completely up to you. I would be lying if I said this step didn't honestly freak me out a little bit. After carefully placing everything, you have to pick up the end of the dough and then pick up the whole wreath and flip the end piece of the dough underneath so that everything kind of cooks and stays all together. It was a little bit nerve-wracking because I didn't want to ruin it, but it genuinely wasn't that difficult. Just go ahead, take your time, and everything will turn out great. Here is where I accidentally jumped ahead of the recipe a little bit. As you can see, I'm sprinkling on a little bit more of that rosemary, but I completely forgot that we are supposed to do an egg wash, and I didn't want to forget that step because it makes it nice and golden brown. So all of that rosemary that you can see there around the pan is the stuff that I flicked off. So put it on, took it off, put on the egg wash, and then after I will put on a little bit more rosemary. At the end of the day, it's perfectly fine. It's just a little bit of rosemary, but I really didn't want to skip out on this egg wash because the egg wash helps it get nice and golden brown in the oven, and with something that is as beautiful as this, since it's supposed to be a wreath, I wanted it to come out nice golden brown, because that, in my opinion, is when everything looks the most appetizing. Now that our oven is preheated, we're going to go ahead and pop in our little wreath, and we are going to cook this at 390 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes or until it comes out nice and golden brown. You're going to see me put the wreath back in the oven because it wasn't quite done yet. I think I added probably 5 more minutes to the timer just to make sure that the dough was all the way cooked through. Thanks again for spending yet another day in the kitchen with me. I really hope you enjoyed today's recipe. I know it's going to be one of my favorites, and definitely one that we're going to keep in the arsenal for any holiday functions that we're going to. It's such a delicious and easy appetizer. But yeah, so thanks so much for spending the day in the kitchen with me today. And be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!